Hey gang, welcome to the Matthew Street Channel. I'm Matt, and I'm glad you're here. Hey, Matthew Street Channel, always powered by AC/DC Rocker Bust Beer. That's a nod to Psycho's Platters. Hi, Paul. I love when he comes on and says, "Welcome to Psycho's Platters, always powered by coffee." Cracks me up every time, but I thought I'd do some different, so I'm being powered by AC/DC Rocker Bust Beer, baby. Why not? Or maybe some Monkey's Banana Nut Soda. You know, maybe that's we'll go a little more lightweight. We'll go with the Monkey's Banana Nut Soda. But you gotta love it, folks. AC/DC beer, Rocker Bust, limited edition, I guess. German beer, Australian hard rock, brewed in accordance with the German purity law. Well, that's good. So at least I won't drop after I have this. Huh. But it looks like it was imported by Eurobrew Incorporated, Ashland, Massachusetts. So not far from me. It was imported by them. So get yourself some AC/DC Rocker Bust beer, folks. Why not? How you all doing? Anyway, I'm just in a mood to show more stuff that I've been listening to lately. I got so much stuff here in the pile that I might have to do a couple of videos. It's a lot of stuff. Stephen Schnee recently did a video called Check It Out. And check it out. Check out his new series called Check It Out. Very good stuff. He'll take one album, whether it's something new, something old, something borrowed, something blue, and he'll show it to you for a couple of minutes, rave about it, talk about it, and hopefully spark your interest in listening to it again, or if you've never heard it, checking it out again. And he did one recently on this album right here, which I don't have the album to show you. Well, I do have the album, I just didn't pull it out of the rack here, but Road to Ruin. Love this album. And he said it was his favorite Ramones album. Well, I won't go that far. It's not my favorite, but it's definitely in my top 3 Ramones albums. But the one I've been listening to a lot lately is in my top 2 Ramones albums, and it's this one. I know you're all saying, what are you, crazy, Matt? Come on, how can you, the classic first 3, then, Road to Ruin, or Too Tough to Die, which is also one of my favorites, folks. That kind of, to me, is their comeback album from 1984. Check it out, Too Tough to Die. But folks, this is kind of a lost Ramones album, but it's one of my favorites. Pleasant Dreams, with a terrible album cover, by the way. I've always hated this album cover, but it doesn't detract from the great music that's inside. It's basically the Ramones power pop album, if you want to put it that way. Hard power pop, fast power pop. I've got it on right now, as a matter of fact, the CD, but I love this album by the Ramones, and I've been listening to it a lot. Have any of you ever checked out Pleasant Dreams? Produced by the great Graham Gouldum, however you pronounce it, Graham Gouldum, who was in 10cc. Come on, you've heard of them. And also the great songwriter, Graham, who wrote so many great songs for the Hollies and other big 60s bands and artists. He produced this, and you know what? I love it. I think it's great. I got this not too long ago. A lot of people slam 90s rock and stuff, and whatever you want to call it. But yeah, some of it was crappy. But you know what? I've always liked the Gin Blossoms. They're just a fun 90s power pop band. And they finally issued New Miserable Experience, which was their first stellar, great album, on vinyl, and I picked it up, and I spin this a lot, folks. Great album. Check it out. The band Blue Ash. How many have heard of Blue Ash? Great, great band. This is called No More, No Less. I believe it's their first album. They're just a fabulous little rock and roll pop album, pop band from the 70s, folks. Here's the back. Great, great stuff. I call it more hard power pop, but it's fantastic. I love it. And I don't know what else much to say about it, is that the big hit on here is Abracadabra, Have You Seen Her? Check that out. And there's a lot of other great stuff on here. So, Give me a chance here, and I'll put this back in the sleeve. Very casual, these videos, folks. You know, I'm not here to reinvent the wheel, or just here to talk and show some stuff, you know. The Cult, Electric. Been listening to this lately. I love The Cult. God, so many good albums they have, and I have about 3 or 4 of their albums. I don't have the whole catalog, but this is certainly one of my favorites. This is probably their most famous and most popular ones, but they do have other great albums, folks, so I encourage you to check out The Cult. Get a best of or a greatest hits if you'd like. There's one out there called Pure Cult, which is all their best of. That's a great one to get. You can get it on CD or vinyl, I believe. But Electric is a classic, and check it out. This never goes far from my turntable. The first album by The Beat, Paul Collins and The Beat. It's just, what more can you say about this? I mean, if you're a fan of power pop and rock and roll from the 70s and coming into the 80s, you must have this album, or you must have heard it a million times. It's so great. 1978, how about this pop guy, power pop, whatever you want to call him? Nick Gilder, City Nights. Who remembers this guy? Maybe not many of you, I don't know. But his big hit on this was called Hot Child in the City. Who remembers that song from the late 70s? Big top 40 hit. Good stuff. This is kind of a unique one. I still have it in the shrink wrap, believe it or not. Right here. It's by the Tremblers, and it's called Twice Nightly by the Tremblers. Now this came out to, I want to say 1980, around 1980. The cool thing about the Tremblers is it's power pop, rock and roll, melodic, fun to listen to. But their lead singer on this album is one and only Mr. Peter Noone from Herman's Hermits. There's Peter right there. Great album with Peter on lead vocals. You can't beat it. For you Herman's Hermits fans, you need to have this. Now, I could have shown many of their albums, but the one I've been throwing on lately is Queen, A Kind of Magic. And this one's kind of cool because it's a promo, as you can see. But I love this album. I mean, I love all Queen's albums. I'm a big Queen fan. I think I did a dedicated Queen video a couple of years ago. I know I don't do too much on them, but you know, they are one of my favorite bands. I saw them live in 1980 in London. Remember, I was in the service over there for a couple of years. Had the opportunity to see them on the Magic Tour, I guess you would call it. No, not that. It would be the Game Tour from 1980. And what a great show, and having the opportunity to say I saw them live is just something I'll hold for the rest of my life. What a great memory. But I like this album. It's a fun rockin' pop album. There's some great ballads, some great rockers on here, and it's something you might want to check out. Okay, don't make fun of me for this one, but every once in a while I get in that mellow mood. I want to come down here and relax in the old room and kick back, you know, put the ottoman under my feet. If I had an ottoman. I don't have one. Anyway, you know what I mean. And I'll put on something like this. John Denver. All right, this is still in the shrink with the hype sticker. One of his more famous albums called Windsong. Has the big hits on it. Calypso, I'm Sorry. But there's a lot of other great stuff on here. Looking for Space. Fly Away is on here. Song of Wyoming. Just a great pop album, folks. I have just about everything by John Denver. And I'm not going to use the GP phrase, that he's a GP of mine, if you know what that means. I don't believe in that stuff. You shouldn't feel any guilt about anything you listen to. If you like it, if you enjoy it, if you get in the mood for whatever, something mellow, something light, or something hardcore, rockin', fast, punk, heavy metal, speed metal, whatever you're into, disco, who cares, right? If it makes you happy for that moment you're listening to it and gives you pleasure, why not? And this brings me pleasure at times. I love many of his albums. His album Rocky Mountain High is a favorite of mine. God, so many albums of his I love. This just happens to be one I was listening to recently. It was in the recent listens pile, so thought I'd show it to you. Okay. Has anyone heard of this band? I don't know if Stephen Schnee has. He's big into power pop. These guys are kind of a Boston-based band called the Atlantics. Has anyone out there besides me heard of the Atlantics? All right, it's a great little power pop album, folks. I think it's local to my area. I'd have to really check into it closer. But I've had this for a couple of years now. I never really had heard of them before. And then somebody recommended them to me. And as you can see, it was only $5.99 and still in the shrink wrap. But it's an album that goes back to the early 80s, the Atlantics. And the album is called Big City Rock. Good album. Okay, I could pull out any of their albums, but I have this one right now. Mark, Don, and Mel, 69 to 71. Great, great little album by Grand Funk Railroad. You gotta love these guys. I mean, there's such great stuff on here. Show you, give you a little look there. It's just a great, great little album. I love their stuff. I don't have everything by Grand Funk, but highly recommended band to you. And last but not least is my old beat up copy. I've played this a million times of Badfinger's No Dice. Okay, we'll flip the backside real quick. It's okay, right? I mean, we're a PG. It's PG. We're PG here. But anyway, Badfinger's No Dice, classic album, great album. You know, I Can't Take It, I Don't Mind, and Better Days. Of course, the big hit on here is No Matter What and Without You, which Nilsson later recorded and made into a big hit. And also the song Midnight Caller, which from what I'm told, from my new favorite band, the Midnight Callers, took their name from the song on here, Midnight Caller. So there you go. Great, great stuff. And matter of fact, this one I show you the gatefold. Here's the band. Badfinger. You gotta love them, folks. I'm sure many of you out there are fans of Badfinger. This is an old one, so it's a little beat up, but it's on the Apple label. So there you have it, folks. Just a few minutes with you. Spend a little time with you. 10, 12 minutes hanging out, talking music. Love to hear what you think about some of this stuff, and I'll talk to you soon. Have another one coming up, believe it or not. I only got through half the pile. I hope you don't mind. Thanks. Bless you all. Bye-bye.